Let me thank everybody who is supporting Dig on America on Patreon. That is Jenna, Shartan, Blake, Bill, the Herfcast, someone named Stevenson, Paul, and the Jock and Nerd show. Thank you guys for supporting us and supporting
Did we miss Gordy?
Huh?
Did we miss Gordy?
Is Gordy's name not Gordy on Patreon?
Oh, it might be Paul.
There you go. I did say Paul.
Okay.
No, I didn't, because Paul's not on there. Oh, yeah, I did. Paul. I did say Paul. Thank you, Paul. So thank you guys for supporting independent media. It is important, and if you guys get us to that $100 tier, I personally will throw in that last third to make sure that we always get to donate to the charity of the Patreon's choice. And I'll set up a poll or something on our Patreon so you guys can give me like 10 names and I'll put it up in a poll and then we can vote on who gets what.
Dutch Charities.
Yeah, the Trump Foundation, aka Dutch Charities.
Right.
Trump University.
We give all of our Prager. It's a real school. Real thing.
Yeah, just like Trump U. Just like Trump U.
It was a real school. They really did fuck veterans.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. And not in the way that they wanted on shore leave at the XO. Big House, closing words for tonight, my friend.
Well, you know something. We talked a lot about Mr. Baldwin today and how his words and a lot of things he talked about and a lot of things that a lot of civil rights leaders, civil rights activists, and others have spoken about back in the 50s and the 60s, early 70s even, are still relevant today. And that fact that so many of those issues are still relevant today should be shameful to the American populace. And it's obvious that in many cases there is no shame because they haven't even been exposed to those words, because unfortunately America has gone to great pains to erase or obscure or make very hard to find, unless you're really looking, that knowledge. And until we as a people put that knowledge out there, put it in the curriculums, put it into the systems of this nation to enlighten everyone, put it out so that people can see it and have a concerted, intentional effort to grapple with it, face it down, accept it, acknowledge it as wrong and something that is abhorrent and unacceptable going forward, nothing will change. A lot of times when we talk about racism, people want to talk about individual acts. People want to talk about the police. And the police are just part of the system. The people in committing these individual acts have been conditioned by the systems. So what really needs to be discussed is how do we change the systems? If you're not a racist, if you're not down with white supremacy, if you're not racist adjacent or racist comfortable, as I like to label my non-racist Trump supporters and people of that ilk, then we need to come out and overtly discuss the systems, because it's the systems that are most damaging. And until the systems are dismantled, until the systems are changed, we'll keep having this conversation, and my kids and your kids will be having the same conversation in 30 or 40 years, because it's not going to change until we first just acknowledge and accept that this is part of America, and that this is part of America that needs to change. Some traditions need to change. The tradition of systemic racism in this country needs to change if you're really about equality. Because until the systems change, you cannot pooch your lips, as my mama would say, pooch your lips to say that there is a meritocracy in this country, because there's not, as long as there's systemic disenfranchisement abounding in this country.
That was my blue steel.
I saw you. In every system, the financial system, the housing system, the educational system, the legal system, the political system, racism is woven into the fabric of all of the systems in this country. And it has been so effectively woven in media. It's so effectively woven in that it is as instinctive as blinking. So when those of us who see it, because we're victims of it and targets of it, when we see it and speak about it, those who are not at that place of enlightenment, they can't agree with it, because there's no way to see it. And they've been so conditioned to the precept of meritocracy that it is an affront to them to even think that they may not have gotten to wherever they are on their own. And we have to face that down. We have to have some real courage. And if we're really going to be citizens of the quote unquote United States of America, then all of its citizens must unite to demand that this country live up to her promises. Somebody once said the system isn't broken, it just wasn't built for us. But we're here.
It's working. It's working properly.
Change, right? So we need to make that change, and it takes all of us. Okay, because if during the civil rights movement, if white folks hadn't gotten so disgusted by seeing Bull Connor or Bull Turner, whatever the guy's name was, turning German shepherds loose on people and putting hoses on people, and those hoses rip the skin right off your body when it hits.
On little kids.
Yeah. If people weren't so disgusted
that were trying to go to school.
Right. If people weren't disgusted by the atrocities that they saw and stood up with the oppressed as a member of the unoppressed class, if not enough voices had stood up, guess what? It wouldn't have changed. The voices of the unoppressed need to be as passionate and as active and as loud as the voices of the oppressed in order for change to occur. Change is taken. These types of changes have to be taken. They will not be given freely, because who is going to give up power freely? Stand with us.
And on that bombshell,
cheap labor. I am stating very seriously, and this is not an overstatement, that I fixed the cotton, and I carried it to market, and I built the railroads under someone else's whip for nothing.
see you guys next week.